Salut tout le monde, on est à Laguna Seca, c'est à 2h30 au sud de San Francisco, à Velocity Invitational. On y était l'année dernière, on avait fait une vidéo, mais cette année ils ont vraiment mis le paquet. Et elles vont tourner dans 30 minutes, donc on va vous faire partager ça.
What a setting, what a scene once again here at the Velocity Invitational.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, I tell you. I have experienced a lot of things in my motor racing career, but again, days like this will stay in a fantastic memory. Great characters, great racing drivers, great cars, a lot of history. I'm driving one of the cars with Alain Prost, and Niki Lauda was racing many years ago, which is a fantastic machine. Beautiful car to drive, and of course this racetrack is just méga.
Ça c'est l'univers de Thierry, ça. Alors laquelle tu préfères là-dedans?
Alors c'est très difficile, j'avais une... Toi aussi t'en as une, une 2005 Celle qui n'est pas très connue en fait, c'est la Metro 6R4. Et donc c'était le seul moteur atmosphérique du WRC. Donc toutes les voitures à l'époque, elles avaient des turbos et c'était 4 roues motrices. Ça c'est 2 roues motrices, rear wheel drive, et c'est un atmosphérique. Et alors un son absolument incroyable.
Ça aussi ça te plaît.
Pas mal ça.
C'est la McLaren de notre ami Zayn. Il a 2 SF90 complètement quittés, il a des bagnoles de dingue. Je pense qu'il va nous ouvrir son garage bientôt. Donc là on arrive sur le stand McLaren. Ils sont partenaires de l'événement et ils amènent toujours des super trucs. Donc on a la Elva qu'on avait vue l'année dernière, mais cette fois elle est orange. Enfin c'en est une autre hein, forcément. On a pas mal de P1, des P1, toujours aussi belles 10 ans après. P1 GTR. Oh là là, regardez-moi ça. Et bien sûr les McLaren F1. Les 2 Senna.
If it's love, I want everything. Touch my soul, touch my heart, don't judge my mental. They told me that life is simple, been real since Papa Pimple. I started out in the rental, Sonata, the presidential. Speak once and listen twice, they told me that less is simple. I'm observing in the room, I be flying all on the wall. Open mouth conversations, I leave you all in some awe. Cutting through the noise, I'm hoping I leave a scar. If you don't know where you been, how you knowin' where you are, nigga?
Just cruising the night, I'm grooving, it does
But you said you was my type, I'm moving too slow. Text back like shit, I'm cool with it. I can match energies, babe, I move to your flow. Threw off the time, check my notifications. It wasn't love we was prepping for, but was something adjacent. I can't be wasting lines. I'm meant for something to say in a time where everything vague and the in-between is not what it made out to seem. Everything is intention, but still I tend to do it wrong. Can you fault me for wanting you? Was you let alone? Both hurt, but I wasn't taunting you. I just...
Donc McLaren s'est lâché par rapport à l'année dernière avec un parc incroyable. Mais alors, aujourd'hui, on a aussi Ferrari. Et ça déçoit pas. 288, F40, F50, Enzo, la Ferrari. On devrait avoir une F40 sur la Chanel bientôt. Il faut qu'on s'organise ça avec le Russe. Semaine prochaine, dans 2 semaines.
Dans 2 semaines. Il nous a dit qu'on pourrait peut-être la conduire, donc voilà quoi. F40 maybe.
Donc ça c'est la nouvelle 296 GTB. Elles viennent au punaise, Formule.
C'est quoi l'équivalent McLaren?
La Artura.
D'accord. L'Artura c'est la réponse.
Mais l'Artura elle est un peu moins puissante. Je sais pas comment je me retrouve ici, mais je suis vraiment au bord de la piste. C'est celle de Prost. C'est la Senna GTR de Henri, le français. On a fait une petite vidéo, si vous ne l'avez pas vue, allez la checker.
And we're going to have our national anthem by Razvio.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light. What so proudly we
écoutez, là je vais arrêter de parler, il y a trop de trucs, je peux pas commenter. On va envoyer la musique. C'est une voiture de 3 millions de dollars, donnée pour 458 km/h, 1817 chevaux. Là c'est les hypercars qui tournent, on a Zenvo, on a Czinger, on a des bonnes choses. Ça c'est la Czinger, elle a deux sièges l'un derrière l'autre en tandem. C'est assez marrant l'aileron de la Zenvo R qui bouge en fonction du virage en fait et de l'appui aérodynamique.
No, you were downstairs. Let me give you this is your thing to get in and out here.
Cannot concern yourself with brands. Right in the corner.
last year we got a chance to see Mika in action, and it was absolutely superb. Different cars this year, and as he says, we've got Tanner Faust.
Start changed in a big way, a lot longer, a lot wider, obviously a lot faster. Obviously the performance. Well, he described it.
Et pour finir la journée en beauté, on a une petite Bugatti Super Sport.
Seen that around the
Ok, donc comme l'année dernière, on a une petite session de 15 minutes organisée par McLaren avec les hypercars et les supercars McLaren. Donc on va aller s'amuser un peu sur le circuit.
It off, and I don't know, you're up close with these cars and you know that people will make those comparisons with Ferraris, with Lamborghinis, and even with Porsche. But what to you makes the McLaren so different, if not unique?
Well, I guess the uniqueness has to come out there. The technology, the McLaren comes what? Of course, derived out of their F1 cars. You know, you see that directly in the car. You know, McLaren doesn't build anything that isn't necessary into their car. It's all about saving weight and performance. And so that, I believe, it really attracts our clients, especially the technical aspect of it, just with, you know, the hydraulic suspension, the active aero, you know, all this technology goes into the car. Our clients enjoy that, you know.
Voilà, donc j'ai l'adrénaline qui redescend là, c'était super cool. J'adore ce circuit. Il est vraiment joueur et on se sent super vite en confiance en fait. Donc c'était court, c'était ouais, une quinzaine de minutes. Mais bon, vous avez vu les voitures, P1, P1 GTR, Senna, incroyable quoi. Mais bon, cette petite 720S, elle va toujours aussi bien, j'adore.
Contributing to his super license points. To the left of him, the man really needs no introduction. This guy has driven literally everything, except interestingly to me, it occurred to me that with everything that you've driven, Mario, I don't think that you've ever been a McLaren driver until this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. You know, thanks to Zach here, he's just taking a big risk.
Now you tell me.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, I never had the opportunity, but I can tell you the story that when I came out of Lotus in 1980, I had a choice because of the Marlboro sponsorship to go either with McLaren or Alfa Romeo. They both had the same sponsorship. And I acted with my heart rather than my head, my brain, and I went with Alfa Romeo. And you know, I have no regrets in my career, but if I have to mention one, that was one.
Well, as you all witnessed, Mario was really hustling that car out on track just a minute ago, and I have to tell you a quick little side story. I was catching up with Mario yesterday on a garage tour, and related to him, the story my wife had said after I told her that I met him, I told Mario, I said, my wife said, he's a stud at 82. So I told Mario that story, and I said at the same time, thank you very much for making it a possibly high standard for me when I get home. So appreciate that, Mario. She wants to meet you too. Flight is tomorrow morning. To the left of Mario is, this guy is incredibly busy, he's incredibly accomplished. He's won a couple of Formula Drift World Championships, Global Rallycross, America Rallycross, Rallycross America. He's also a 4-time gold medal winner in the X Games. And he moonlights as a stunt driver. You may not know this, but he's been in movies like Ford versus Ferrari. He was also the host of the American Top Gear show for quite a while, and the McLaren Extreme E driver, Mr. Tanner Faust. Tanner, welcome. And to his left, we have another Formula One world champion. He holds, yes, not only is he one of 3 Finns to win the world championship in Formula One, but he holds the distinction of being the only one to have won it multiple times, having won it back-to-back for McLaren in 1988 and 1999, narrowly missing out on the 3rd title in 2000, right? Welcome, Mika Hakkinen. He's got a great story about that picture behind him, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And he flies, and you also you hear him on some Formula One commentary, as well as Formula One podcasts. And he's a McLaren ambassador. He's also been working with Pato a little bit to get him acclimated to these cars. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then the wizard behind the curtain that orchestrates all of this stuff on a global scale, Mr. Zach Brown. Zach, welcome again. Good morning, afternoon. So, you guys had a busy morning just now with a lot to be accomplished, but I know we got a short amount of time here before the cars start firing up again, but let's kind of dive in here thinking about the rest of the Formula One season. Mika and Pato, I would imagine you guys will probably be in Austin next weekend for the Formula One race. So,
you are going? Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, nice.
Yes. So, what are you guys thinking, knowing that you're still in a constructors battle with Alpine for the Formula One Championship in that regard? So, what are you looking to accomplish next weekend, do you think, in Austin? What's the plan? Because I know you got Alex Pillow coming in to get some free practice time as well, but what's the strategy team-wise? And for you, looking forward to your time in Abu Dhabi?
Well, you have to keep your foot down. Don't let those out punch, you know, to big thing, you know. There is no any kind of excuses or anything. You just have to keep your foot down. You have to really work really well with the engineers, find the best possible setup, stay out of the trouble, and break a little bit later than others.
I like that strategy. I like that strategy. So tell us a little bit about, I know last November you were here working with Pato a little bit, trying to get him acclimated. I believe it was the MCL 35. What kind of things did you guys work on during that time? Was that your first exposure really to a Formula 1 car, Pato?
I'd driven one before, but that was my first Formula 1 car. That was a V10. And you know, the first one that was quite a few years ago. Sorry, Mika. But I was blown away by that car, and I think I can say the same by the one that I drove today and yesterday, the MP4 5P, which was driven by Ayrton Senna in 1990. I think that is the car. When people think of the F1 car, that is the one. And to me, it's just mind-blowing to see the evolution of all the cars. I mean, it's crazy, man.
It absolutely is, and I've had the good fortune to be able to take a number of these folks on the garage tours, which you and I caught up with yesterday. It kind of walked them through the evolution of the 85 car that you drove, the Land Cross, as well as the Senna car, and you had some time in it as well, Tanner, and then to watch Mario driving the more current car and Charlie in his car. So when you're thinking ahead to the end of the season, so what are you looking to gain for your time? Not just your exposure in the Senna car today, but when you're looking ahead to what you're going to experience next weekend and in Austin, as well as Abu Dhabi, kind of moving forward for 23 and 24.
I think you just add it to into your memory bank of knowledge, right? You're driving very different cars that are you know, extremely different in every way, and I think it just adds to the skill that you have to adapt. You need to learn something new. And you know, whether it is a Formula 1 car, whether it's an Indy car, whether it is a rallycross car, or whatever car you're driving, it requires a very different skill, and that's something that you have to just kind of learn through, right? It's a process. I've had the chance to drive the 2021 Formula 1 car a couple of weeks ago. I've had 2 tests so far, one in Barcelona, one in Austria. And that's what it's about. It's just, you know, the laps and just getting to know everything. And you know, the car is so different on low fuel versus on high fuel. And you need to learn what the car likes, and you just get comfortable with it. And once you're in sync with the car, there's no other feeling in the world that ever makes you. Yeah, it's unexplainable. I guess whenever you get to that point, it's yeah. Really, really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Mika, obviously you spent some time in the Prost 85 car, and you and I were talking that you had also driven that car many, many years ago, early on in your career with McLaren, back in like 1993, I think it was, albeit under different circumstances. But what was your memory of the car then, when you were early on in your McLaren career, versus now when you've kind of come back to, quote-unquote, an old friend, so to speak?
Yeah, I drove that car in '93, back in Germany. It was a Hugo Boss promotion, and it felt slow. Now it feels fast.
So now, we were also talking, you said to me yesterday that with the banner behind you, with how you got the nickname the Flying Finn, there's a story behind that picture. So I think the folks here would love to hear that story.
Yeah, I mean, that particular situation was here, '93. And that fantastic car. It had active suspension and great performance car, and it was one really high speed right hand corner, and I missed the turning. I missed the apex a little bit, so I didn't have a chance to go in the corner anymore, so I had to go straight. But in the exit of the corner was an enormous curve, so of course I flew over that one, and I landed, and the front wing broke straight away, and suspension broke. I had a really sore butt after that. Yeah, it was an experience.
I can only imagine it was. So Mario, as we were watching you run that car today, it looked like you were really starting to come more to grips with that car. I know yesterday you were kind of having a hard time seeing it. You know where you were in, but how did you feel about it today compared to yesterday?
I'm not doing it justice because I'm just, my legs are a little bit too short for, and the way they're having a tough time getting it, they're trying really hard to accommodate, but and because I have to reach for the pedal, for the throttle, I had to have a loose, loose lap belt, and then when I all of a sudden figured out hell with everything, so I went and I was all over the place. I was bouncing around the cockpit, so I couldn't really get. I wasn't doing the car justice, but you know what? There's no negative in this for me because I know what the car is capable of and I'm getting a taste of it. And I think by the time I get to Coda, I think I'll have it. We're going to do some more work in the cockpit. If I can get the way, at least 90% the way I need to be in the cockpit, then I'll be able to really bring it,
So we should be looking for you to try to gather some super license points too?
Yeah, I'm looking for the super license and then, okay. Well, Ricardo is retiring.
See, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here. Awesome. So, Tanner, before we get too crazy here with the noise, a lot of people don't really understand what Extreme E is. Could you kind of explain that to the folks here and kind of all the places you've been this season with McLaren?
Sure. First of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here lined up. I mean, I grew up just over these hills listening to this racetrack. Never even thought about getting into motorsport until I was out of college, and then to be here driving Formula 1 cars, getting passed by all of these guys is just a phenomenal experience. And it's a door that's opened, obviously, with the relationship with McLaren. Extreme E is a forward-looking, future-proof motorsport. It's off-road, it's carbon neutral, gender neutral. I'll wait for these cars to go by.
Good call.
Trucks, you can see, we put Mika's jump to shame every single lap. But we have a big, soft suspension, and these trucks are 600 horsepower, fully electric, and we race in 5 locations around the world. The series is one that's really proving that you can race in a sustainable way, and hopefully that keeps motorsport going for the next 100 years.
Now, I know this is going to get really difficult in just a minute. These guys will hang out here. We're going to have lunch in a minute. You can talk to them a little bit more, but I've got a question for the boss. Next year, it's going to be the 60th anniversary of McLaren. What's the future look like? What have you got on tap for next year for the 60th anniversary?
It's going to be celebrating the legends. We've got such a great history. Unbelievable cars. We're going to bring a lot more cars out and celebrate what we've accomplished in Formula 1, IndyCar, Can-Am, Le Mans, and then look forward to the next 60 years, which I'd like to be here for them, but that would be defying some odds. But I'm going to give it a go. I love being able to bring out these cars and these drivers and share them with all the fans of motorsport is just awesome. I consider myself to be McLaren's #1 fan and motorsport's #1 fan, and so my job is to bring this great sport to hundreds of millions of people around the world. And when you look at the social media activity that this weekend's created and all the fans at the racetrack, it's awesome. It's a privilege.
Wonderful. Well, folks, before this race gets going, and we can't hear anything more, as I said, these guys will be here for a few more minutes. They'll probably have some lunch. But I want to, on behalf of myself and the rest of us all here, gentlemen, it's been an honor for me and a pleasure to be able to talk with you all today. Thank you so much for taking the time. Here is your wall of champions right here, folks. Thank you.